Excellent. How's it going?
Yes.
That's good. So, I'm not sure what Lars is doing,
hmm
um, but he might come back, I guess, at some stage. So, where are you based, Florian? If you want to introduce yourself, and then I can tell you who I am.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm doing a PhD on circular economy and material circularity and how the whole system works in a very broad way. I just started, so I'm quite new in the subject, and I found the open source circular economy days, and I was browsing a little bit around, and I saw there were like these video calls, but actually I didn't find out yet what the purpose is of this
Of
specific call, so maybe it's interesting to know more about this.
well, so where are you based?
In France, in Blaise Pascal University.
Okay.
It's a European project with Sweden and Iceland.
You're doing your PhD on a European project.
This model, it's a little bit, yeah, Iceland, a crazy idea. Works on certain subjects like phosphor depletion. It's all linked to, the baseline is there's resource depletion, and we need to find a solution to counter this. And I'm working on circular economy concept. So how this works and how, yeah.
From maybe we'll get into the detail a little bit more in a minute. But
Yeah.
so I'm in the Netherlands at the moment at TU Delft.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a postdoc researcher here in the circular product design group. So we mainly do research on design for circular economy, things like repair, remanufacturing, recycling, but also looking at kind of business models for circular economy. So
Okay.
yeah, so working with people like Connie Back and Nancy Boken, and we have a new professor of circular product design, Ruud Balkenende, who used to be based at Philips for 25 years. That's my kind of day job. But in terms of OSCEdays, it's a kind of much broader initiative that myself and Lars and a few others set up about. This is our second year running this particular event. I think there's a number of different motivations to try to bring open source thinking to the circular economy, depending on who you speak to within the community. So on the one hand, I think there's Lars again.
Yeah.
Hello. So I'm just, Florian just introduced himself briefly, and I'm just giving a bit of background to OSCEdays and where we've come from. So Lars is also one of the kind of main founders of. So obviously Lars knows much more about the open source side of things, and I come from a kind of circular economy community, sustainable design in particular. But yeah, I think from my experience, I think the circular economy conversation is quite limited in its imagination at times, and it's quite linked to more mainstream business. So that's on one opportunity that I would see. So I think having a more of a social innovation perspective by running events like this can be quite interesting for circular economy thinking. But also I think open source methodology can actually solve barriers that the circular economy faces, like sharing information and these types of things.
Yeah, completely agree with this. I'm a little bit disappointed as well by how the EU approaches the concept, and it's indeed very limited.
So, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to clarify what the purpose of the call today is, because I know you said you kind of just happened across the internet. And here you are, which is great. Otherwise, we would just be talking to each other. But so the idea for us is that we really want to learn about what the other local organizers in cities around the world are doing for OSCE. because in many ways it's quite conceptual, and we don't necessarily have a perfect example of what an open source circular product would look like. And we just want to get a better sense of what people are doing and why they're interested, really. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So,
Lars,
yeah. Maybe you're waiting still for the local organizers to join in, or
yeah, well,
in a
the
sense.
program is quite, it's a bit of an experiment in some ways. And today, actually, I'm not sure there are so many activities today. Over the rest of the weekend, I think it will be busier. So hopefully we will have, yeah, we already have a number of different cities signed up tomorrow and Saturday to come and join the call and actually present what they're doing.
Okay.
So Rio de Janeiro is joining on Saturday, London tomorrow, and various other places, Lars, yeah? We can't hear you. We can see your lovely head, but we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
But Florian also had the same problem a minute ago. How did you solve the problem, Florian?
Is Lars working on a MacBook? Or on which kind of computer? You
He said
notice?
MacBook.
Yeah, okay. Then I found a solution with over here. I'll put it in comments. Just hang out and then it works. I don't know why, but it's how.
Yeah.
Try to.
But maybe while he's trying to figure out that, so do you kind of what piqued your interest in OSCE?
Yeah, actually as far as I understood now, it's more focused on the practical part, like designing specific products and really looking on the ground on local level how things might work and could work, and to brainstorm on this, and not really much on the larger scale. Is it?
I think like that have been put up on the forum. I spent a bit of time kind of going through them this morning, and I think it is very much a mix. And I would say that there's more of a tendency towards the kind of more systemic problems, actually. There are some challenges looking at developing kind of apps for behavior change, looking at how you can design products better, looking at open source business models. But then there's also things like looking at currencies and the role of community currencies in fostering more localized manufacturing ecosystems. What else do we have? Lots of activity on how community spaces can have a role in a kind of future decentralized manufacturing system, things like mapping out the urban commons, looking at materials in local contexts. What else do we have? Yeah. So I think there's quite a nice spread, actually. There's some on the more kind of technology side, but then on more of the kind of systemic barriers.
Oh, sorry. I fell away because my internet connection is not really good as well. So
that's okay. Yeah, this is the nature of these.
I heard you.
Maybe now? Can you hear me now?
Hey, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Max. Sorry.
That's okay. You're here now.
Well, whoever experiments with Google Hangouts has a lot of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Yeah.
That's okay. But I was, did you hear me saying, Florian, what the kind of spread of the challenges are that people are working on?
No, I heard your question about interest, and I gave a brief answer, and then you fell away. So.
Okay.
And yeah, sometimes if you're giving.
I kind of went through.
Sorry. Yeah, sometimes if you give an explanation, like 20%, I don't hear. So I think I grasped like the main message most of the time, but sometimes it's not very clear. But
yeah. But well, I think the main message about what people are actually doing in in the cities that are participating are in general more on the systemic side, I would say. So things like mapping the urban commons, looking at like material flow analysis in a local context, how kind of the proliferation of community spaces can manufacturing systems. And then there's also kind of the currency and finance side, which is obviously a big part of how you implement a circular economy. And then there is, as you say, the more practical, like what are open business models that are also circular, and the product design side as well. So it's quite diverse, actually.
Yeah, maybe I can tell you a little bit what we are planning here in Berlin, if you allow me. So we are still in the last preparations of the space, but you can see we have really a large space. This is a construction site, and we transformed it into a very lovely event space. We built a lot of furniture that is actually circular and modular. Maybe you can see it a little bit. And here in the back there will be our really huge textile challenge. So we have a large group of around 100 people that will work for 4 days to solve all kinds of questions around circular open textiles. And we have even sponsors and good partners for this, like for example the famous label Philippa K. But we will also have, as Sharon mentioned, challenges around circular finance. We will have some guys from the Precious Plastics project here, and they will build one of the 4 machines. These are all open source machines you can use in your home to recycle plastics. And they have a welder here, so while the people are discussing finance, in one corner people will weld. And we have Jay Cousins here who will build a sustainable house project, or at least run some experiments on it. We will build aquaponics, we will build apps here. We will really do a lot. We have a large program with almost 40 challenges. We not just have challenges, we also have guided tours through roof water farms. And we also have an exhibition in the end, and we have a lot of panel discussions and talks also. So it's really a large and very diverse program we're running here. What about the event in London, Sharon? Have you already shared something about this? What will you do in London?
Well, Woon, who is one of the local London organisers, is going to join tomorrow and present the London event more thoroughly, but I can give you some update on what we're actually doing. So it's actually very much a follow-on from a project we did last year, which was looking at sustainability in mixed spaces. So myself and some researchers did a project at the OSCEdays looking at how you can kind of implement circular practices in spaces like fab labs and hack spaces and things, what needs to happen. So we kind of did a baseline study last year where we were looking at the barriers, the opportunities, and what the people who actually avail of these types of spaces need, and needs in terms of very practical needs, but then more kind of on the infrastructure policy side, what does the government need to incentivize more local manufacturing through community-driven make spaces. So we are taking the next step from that, which is really looking at more practical outputs. So looking at developing like an online platform to share examples of best practices, or have like downloadable workshop kits that maybe make space managers can use as training or during the induction of bringing people in to actually use these spaces. Yeah, so I think it's that will actually be a very practical challenge. And then on Saturday, we will be going to Reading, which is like a kind of a commuter city just outside London, and the Reading Green Fest is on all day on Saturday, so we will have a stand there, but we're also doing a kind of a mapping activity that will be mapping out the kind of stakeholders and potentially important actors for circularity in Reading. But I think Woon is probably better placed to explain this event when he joins tomorrow.
Cool. And maybe one question to Florian. What do you think is one of the major challenges we need to solve in order to achieve the goal to get to a circular economy?
Oh, that's a big question. I think I also strongly believe in like the local aspect of circular economy and like giving people the possibility to take.
Oh, now he's frozen.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's a shame.
Actions as work, like the local aspect, but on which specific system might work best, I don't know. It's I'm discovering now. I've been reading about complementary currencies. You have like all the kinds of collaborative economy tools and apps, some of which are almost as bad as the biggest capitalistic systems, like with just like Airbnb. It's not very different, so it stays within the current monetary system. But there are other examples as well. So for me, it feels like it can go in any direction. So
yeah. And why did you get involved in? Why did you start your PhD? I suppose, you know, where did you come from, or you know, what brought you here? I suppose.
Oh, he's frozen again. Maybe this gives
soil, water, yeah, actually air quality. But sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit the alien in this conversation, I feel, but okay, I'll explain. So I did mainly technical stuff, and I worked for a year in an international organization, UNESCO, on disasters, which was very much political things, and I was a little bit fed up with this. And then I found this project. It's a European project, so I'm working, or I'm supposed to work in the interest of the EU, and everything is like on very large-scale measures, even world scale, because there's a crazy